Good morning and welcome to Wake Up Newport. I'm Steve Rosansky, president of the Newport Beach Chamber of Commerce, and we're glad to have you here this morning. Our normal moderator, Dorothy Larson, couldn't make it this morning. She's teaching a class, and so she had to prepare for that. So I'll be doing all the duties today. As we normally do, we have a couple of dignitaries with us that I'd like to introduce. So we'll start off with our illustrious mayor, Rush Hill. And we have our fire chief here this morning, Chief Scott Poster. We have the chairman of our board and the harbor commissioner, Joe Stapleton. I had to twist his arms. You know, we had another event last night that Joe just got back from Hawaii. He just recently engaged as well. Congratulations, Joe. In case you didn't know. Yeah. Sometimes he brings his beautiful fiancée, but she's not here this morning. I guess she's working. We have Harbor Commissioner Brad Avery with us, and Harbor Commissioner Duncan McIntosh. He's a newbie to our meeting, right, Duncan? Pardon? I said, you're a newbie to our meeting. Well, Brad dragged me out. I know, he told me he was going to bring you. Thank you all for coming. So before we get going with our speaker, I'd like to bring up Lenka Coloma. You might have met her already this morning. She's with Club Detox. They're one of our chamber members, and she's just going to give you a 2 or 3 minute little talk about what she does over at Club Detox. Come on up, don't be bashful. We always like to feature one of our restaurants or retail chamber members at our events, so I'll turn it over to you, Lenka. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lenka Coloma. I'm the owner and founder of Club Detox. It's our second location here in Newport Beach, and we specialize in energy, in health, in disease prevention. The great news is that we are local here. We produce everything fresh. We work with local farmers. We recycle everything, and we are very glad to be part of the community here. We have really fantastic testimonials. We help people with any kinds of conditions. If you just want to continue to be healthy, disease-free, or want to lose some weight, we have some great specials this month of December, so please make sure to stop by and see us. Or if you have a friend who needs little help with energy, maybe some health condition, we see basically all kinds of health issues, so please don't hesitate to give them our information and stop by. Thank you so much.
Tell them where you're located.
We are located at 1040 Bayside Drive. So it's right at the Pavilions Shopping Center between Pavilions and Sapori Restaurant. We've been there now for 4 months. It's our second location. We've been in business for 2 years, and we work with some recognized doctors and a lot of chiropractors, nutritionists, and professionals of any kind of fields. Thank you.
Thank you, Lenka. They actually manufacture those things, right?
I'm sorry?
You don't buy those somewhere. You guys make those
No,
things.
they are made on our location. That's why we are so different, that we produce everything daily and fresh.
Fresh, great. Okay, well, thank you, Lenka. All right, so now we're going to move on to our featured speaker this morning. Someone I met probably a dozen years ago at least. She called me up one day and said, hey, why don't you come down and see what I got going down here? So she gave me the nickel and the dime tour, I think. I got the full Monty there. But in any event, Laura Davick, founder and director of external affairs for the Crystal Cove Alliance, is our speaker this morning. Laura Davick's parents met as campers at the Crystal Cove in 1940. You shouldn't ever put that in there. It said they met, not you were born. Okay, that's okay. In 1940, it moved into cottage number 2 in 1960 when Laura was 1 year old. As a third-generation Covite, she has dedicated her life to protecting and preserving Crystal Cove State Park and Historic District. Laura founded Crystal Cove Alliance in 1999 to stop a planned, there's no Irvine Company people in here, is there? To stop a planned luxury resort in Crystal Cove. Crystal Cove Alliance went on to become Crystal Cove State Park's official nonprofit partner, securing the 20-year concession contract for cottage rentals and food service. Crystal Cove Alliance, through its subsidiary Crystal Cove Beach Cottages, now manages the overnight cottage rentals at the Historic District through Crystal Cove Alliance's leadership in fundraising, restoration, education, and concession services, has led to one of the most successful public-private partnership models in California state park history. Today, Laura remains focused on a $26 million fundraising capital campaign, which I'm sure she'll talk about today, to restore the final 17 cottages for public use. Laura acts as an advocate for state parks and serves on the board of directors for the California League of Park Associations. She leads tours, gives lectures, and continues to shape the future of the Cove on many levels. Laura is co-author of the best-selling Crystal Cove Cottages, Islands in Time on the California Coast. I think you brought a copy of it back there. You can take a look on the way out. And is also compiling a historic archive of photographs, oral histories, and documents on Crystal Cove for the University of California Irvine Special Collections Department. I give you Laura Davick.
Thank you, Steve. Well, after all that, I think I could probably just sit back down. Thank you for that great introduction. Anyway, I am thrilled to be here this morning, and I am thrilled to talk to you about something that I hold very near and dear to my heart, which is Crystal Cove. Steve mentioned that my parents met there, and so, at 12 years old, my mother started tent camping there and met my father there in 1940. So it was a pretty wonderful experience for my family, and I think as such, it's really has motivated me to try and do what I can to create a better Crystal Cove. There's always two questions that people often ask. The most commonly asked questions are, how do I get a cottage rental? And when are you going to finish it? And so what I wanted to share with you today is just a little bit of an update on what's going on down at Crystal Cove. We wear a couple different hats. We're the official nonprofit partner with California State Parks. And so through that, we raise money for our three-pronged mission, which is restoration, conservation, and education. We're also the concessionaire, so we manage the overnight rental program, and then we have subbed out the food services, which includes the Beachcomber, the Shake Shack, and all the catering rights to the Ruby's Restaurant Group. That's in the historic district. We've recently also have negotiated a new concession contract down at Morrow, both with Pelican Hill and with the Beachcomber for off-site catering. So our footprint has expanded. Is there an echo a little bit? Our footprint has expanded down at Crystal Cove. Originally, we were focused just on the historic district, but as you know, the park it's a large park. There's lots going on there. So the park itself includes 3.2 miles of, I think, Orange County's most pristine coastline. There's 2,400 acres in the backcountry, and then there's 1,100 acres in the underwater park. So that is the area that we're now working on. At the moment, I'm going to give you a little bit of an update on phase 3, which is what I spend most all my time on, which is the final restoration of the final 17 cottages. So far, Crystal Cove Alliance and State Parks together have restored 29 of the 46 cottages. So at first I thought, oh my gosh, we're coming down the home stretch. We've got 29 behind us. This last 17 can't be any more challenging. I was wrong. Those last 17 cottages, I have to tell you, are probably the most challenging cottages that we've worked on. So the third phase, 17, all go into the overnight rental program. The entire project is $26 million. And people think, when they hear that number, they think $26 million for 17 cottages? That's a lot of money. And it is a lot of money, but I want to explain to you why that project is so costly. We're currently working on all of the plans, engineering plans, and permitting for that. And our engineers have said, without a doubt, it's the most challenging project on the entire coast of California. The infrastructure portion of that project, the site itself, is just to prepare that site is $13 million, 13 of that 26. So that's where half the cost goes. So that will be stabilizing all the bluffs, creating structures like retaining walls. We have a public access path which will run down the front of the beach. We have sea level rise that we are needing to adapt the project to, and so on and so forth. So The infrastructure portion, 13 million, and then the cottage restoration is also 13 million. And that includes all the way through furnishings and opening. So you might say, okay, of that 26, where are you right now? So I'm happy to say that we have managed to pull together 9 million. So that's a pretty good start. So right now, although we have not launched an official campaign for the North Beach yet, we're working through all of the necessary milestones to get us to the point to be able to start that project. So we are currently before Coastal Commission. We've spent the last 18 months working with them on getting our application approved, and we hope that by first quarter we'll have our CDP, the Coastal Development Permit, to move forward. Also, we're working with state parks on getting some necessary tools to help us do our work, which is a contract extension as well as a donor recognition plan for that North Beach area. So once we get those little minor details taken care of, we'll be in a position to launch the final campaign and bring in that last approximately $5 million to finish that project. So the project will be done in 2 phases. First, the infrastructure, and that'll be about an 18-month long project. And then we'll come back and we'll do the cottage restoration portion. And that will be done hopefully in one chunk, but if not, as funds are available, it may need to be divided up. So that's pretty much gives you kind of a snapshot overview of where we are on phase 3. And the other thing that I like to tell people is that people, when they think of Crystal Cove, they think of the cottage rentals, and they think of the Beachcomber Cafe. And I just have to say that that's really kind of the tip of the iceberg. The plan for Crystal Cove, which is this wonderful plan, you know, after getting the resort plan stopped, we spent about 2 years working on the new plan for Crystal Cove. And so the plan is overnight rentals, food service. There's also a very large education component, and there are a few cottages that are dedicated for education purposes. So just to name a few of them, we have a park and marine research facility. There's a film and media center. We have a outdoor education commons. We have the cultural center up on the bluff top, which was the original Japanese schoolhouse. We have another cottage that's a rotating exhibit cottage. So those are parts of that plan that we're now developing education programs for. The 3 primary areas that we develop our programs and that we're working in right now are the Park and Marine Research Facility. We work a lot with UCI and other universities on bringing in top research professionals to help us better understand how to protect not only the environment down at Crystal Cove, but the marine environment programs such as ocean acidification, programs to help us better manage help state parks better manage the resources that are there. We're also doing, we have a great partnership with Newport Landing, and we are working on the marine protected area citizen science cruises offshore. So that's taking high school kids out into the underwater park, and they have designed, UCI has designed these digital fishing poles where you drop over, you have a fishing pole, and instead of fishing, it's a camera that's dropped into the underwater park. It's shaped like a fish, and it documents everything in the underwater park. Helps with identifying what species are there, is the marine protected area working, and so on and so forth. So that's really exciting. And then lastly, down at the south end of the park, we opened on January 1st the Burns Environmental Study Loop. The Burns Environmental Study Loop, it finishes off the restoration of the newly restored area down at Morrow. So it's part of the 35-acre restoration project. And there's a amphitheater, student staging area, and then there's 8 citizen science learning stations. So through this area, we're developing new programs, working with bringing down after-school groups. We have programs for the Braille Institute, various local high schools. And so we think that Crystal Cove is, what better classroom could you have than a place like Crystal Cove to inspire children and students about the importance of preserving our natural resources. So we have a lot of work on our plate. We have a lot of work, a lot more to do. We're very grateful to have a wonderful board of directors. We have a lot of great volunteers. There's one of our volunteers is here today. Where is she? Raise your hand. There she is. And we have a lot of folks that are helping us to achieve this mission. I am very, very honored to be able to come here and share with you a little bit about what's going on down at Crystal Cove. But I would like to, I have 3 invitations for you, okay? One is, this Saturday is our tree lighting. Has anyone ever been to the tree lighting? Okay. So I would encourage you to come on down to Crystal Cove this Saturday. It's called Deck the Cove, and for the last 18 years I've been putting a Christmas tree on the sand at Crystal Cove, but it's now grown into something much larger. Santa Claus is actually coming, and he will be greeting children as he comes down the beach on the lifeguard truck. So come on down and see Santa. We have carolers and all kinds of things. So if you arrive at 3 o'clock, Santa gets there at 4. The tree gets lit at 5:15, and you'll see a perfect sunset, hopefully, afterwards. So that's my first invitation. My second invitation is that I do a public tour once a month, and it's 2 hours, and there's no better way than to come down, get some exercise, and be able to see really firsthand what's going on down at Crystal Cove. It's now the 3rd Sunday of every month, and it starts at 12 and it ends at 2. We go through the history, we talk about the history of Crystal Cove, we go inside many of the cottages, and you can really see firsthand for yourself what's going on. And I think I'm going to start sneaking people into the fenced-off area in the North Beach. So if you'd like to see the unrestored cottages before they're restored, please come down. And lastly, I would just like to invite you to become more familiar with the work that we do. Think of us if you'd like to get more involved. We have a big mission. We have many programs related to the restoration and conservation and education. So if you ever would like more information about how you could help and be part of this amazing legacy, I would love to talk to you about it. So anyway, with that, I will take questions, and thank you for this opportunity.
Okay, they're all, wood, aren't they? They're all wood.
The cottages? Yes. So the cottages are all historic.
So you have to start tearing everything in the park because they're all rotten.
Don't call them rotten. No, I understand what you're saying. Each cottage, first of all, the cottages at Crystal Cove were restored back to the period of 1935 to 1955. Where the materials are intact, it can be restored relatively easy. When they're not, the materials are replaced in like kind. I am proud to say that Crystal Cove received the Governor's Award for Historic Preservation in 2007. So we're not just restoring cottages and creating kind of like this cottage chic, experience. Everything from the furnishings to the paint colors to the window treatments, all the way down to the floors, are all historically accurate. So those little rotten cottages will get restored, and we'll finish those last 17. You should come on my tour. Okay, next.
I was there for the first time, which is a long time that's been there, for dinner and watching the sunset. The food is wonderful at the Beachcomber. The sunset is great.
Yeah.
Where are you going to put all the equipment and trucks to do all the work that you have to do, taking the ride down?
Right. No, good question. That's one of the challenges of that North Beach project, because we don't want to be coming in through the center of the historic district and impacting all the work that's been done. So the staging area will be up on the bluff top, kind of close to where check-in is, and then all materials have to be lifted in and lifted out. If you're standing up on the bluff, right where check-in is, on that gorgeous deck, if you look down, there's one little empty lot that it's open, a little open space. And there was originally a cottage there that no longer exists. So everything will come in and out from that particular area. Because, like you said, we don't want to disrupt what's already there. Mm-hmm. Yes?
A couple of questions for you. I was there this summer near the end of the summer. So I'm a long-time patron of Crystal Cove. I love the beach there. And when the storm came in near the end of the summer, it just decimated beach, and the beach was almost all gone. So how are you gonna, I know you talked about seawalls, how are you gonna protect the cottages in the event of the rising water, like you mentioned,
Right.
and also storms in the future?
Well, you know, it's ironic. The two, I'm sorry? Basically, he said he was down at Crystal Cove over the summer, and he saw the damage that was done from the high surf storms that we had. And so how are we going to protect the cottages, and in particular as it results to sea level rise? Does that summarize it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mostly the storms.
Mostly storms. Okay, so ironically, there's two areas of the beach. The south end, which is where the beach's cottage is, which is the area that you're talking about that was damaged. That, for some reason, the wave action at that end of the cove is far more significant. When we have a big storm, we lose a lot of sand there. And this year, it was super dramatic. I think it was about a 10-foot drop in front of the beach's cottage, and we lost a little bit of the front of the wall, the recently restored area. So that all comes back. Believe it or not, you go down there today and you look around and it's already starting to come back. But the area in front of the North Beach cottages, for some reason, the wave analysis and the run-up studies that we've been doing for coastal, that area is not nearly as impacted. But as it results to sea level rise, there will be, I believe it's 4 cottages that will have to be raised a certain degree in order to qualify for the sea level rise measurements that we now must adhere to. I'm not an expert on that. I could probably give you someone that could give you a more detailed explanation of that. But the cottages in the North Beach will have to be on caissons, and they will have to be, some of them will have to be raised. And it's ironic that Crystal Cove is so precariously close to the ocean, and it has been for so many years since it was built in the 20s and the 30s, and that it's still there. But as we look to the future, we need to plan accordingly.
So in the south cottages, are they gonna put up some kind of seawalls or something?
Oh, no. We would never put up a seawall. Anything that goes in down at Crystal Cove has to be part of the original historic fabric, if you will. So the area that we're restoring, it will be designed so that there will be a service path that will go in front of those cottages. Previously, it was a small little boardwalk. People just walked down. Well, now we will need to provide a more substantial boardwalk for life safety and to shuttle people to and from their cottages. But it's being designed so that it will withstand wave run-up. And so that's all in the process now being worked on.
So the kind of a segue, the second part of the question is, you mentioned the Coastal Commission.
Correct.
How are you working with the Coastal Commission? Are they on board with what you're doing? Are they a friendly partner?
Yes, very, very much so. It's a long process working with Coastal Commission, but they have also, it's a long process. We've spent the last 18 months on our application process, but I will say that they are a very, very big supporter of Crystal Cove and have been for a long time. Peter Douglas, the former executive director, this was one of his projects that he was very passionate about. And so anyway, the other thing is that we, as a nonprofit managing the overnight rentals, and based upon certain requirements of our contract, we are required to keep our cottage rates, our rental rates, at a certain level. As part of our application process, we had to submit an analysis of all lodging, like similar lodging along the coast of California. And I'm very pleased to say that our dorm-style lodges and our cottage rentals are the most affordable on the entire coast of California. So that's something that we're really proud of. So they have been a great supporter, and they've been good friends to our organization. Yes.
Yeah, I'm Terry Welsh, president of the Banning Ranch Conservancy, and I just have a question. Looking back at your 15 years of what has obviously been success, what just key pearl of wisdom can you pass on to other groups?
Oh my gosh. I don't know how many pearls of wisdom I have, but I will say that, a project like this has a life of its own, and as does yours, Banning Ranch. And I think that the most important thing I can say is never take no as an answer. Because a lot of people will tell you, no, you can't be done, it can't be done. And you just have to have that certain passion and that certain perseverance to just keep pushing forward. There have been many frustrating days, but you just have to keep your eye on the end ball, you know, and just get it done. So, yes. Hi, Carol.
Thank you very much for being here. And I just want to comment that you have formed alliances with a variety of institutions and even the development community. And I think that those alliances at first were a bit difficult for you, wanting to maintain sort of a purity, if you will, to your mission. But on the other hand, found that mitigation coming from development projects really furthered your objectives. Would you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, you know, I have to say that, yes, partnerships in this community are, you know, that has certainly been a great part of how we have been able to be successful in some of the ways which we have, is the partnerships that we've developed. Working with Coastal Commission, and it's afforded us a wonderful opportunity to be able to raise some funding for the project through mitigation funding. And as you know, Carol, you were involved in the recent long 7-year or 8-year effort we had to try and bring some additional funds to this project. We're looking for more if there are more opportunities for us to, but it has been a great way to help us kick off this whole project for the North Beach. And I would welcome any other opportunities to evaluate any other opportunities, because right now what we're doing is we are turning over every rock and every stone we can to see where we can find funding for this project. And that's been a great source for us. Yeah. I don't know if that answered your question or not.
I just wanted to point out that partnerships with entities other than foundations
Absolutely.
are really a positive part of your efforts, because there's a relationship between a development that the Coastal Commission may not approve without some form of offset. Mm-hmm. And that offset allows a good development to go forward and to benefit your project.
Yes, no, absolutely. And there are, it's always been in the last 15 years about getting the right partnerships developed for this organization. And we look forward to doing more of that as we continue to complete this project, because this is a project that is a huge project, especially for a small organization like ourselves to take on. And it's going to take a lot of partners in our community to come forward and to give us a hand and help with some creative strategies and innovative ideas to complete this project. Because in my opinion, I mean, Crystal Cove, and obviously you can tell I'm a little partial about this project, but it is really one of Orange County's greatest treasures that we have, and we're so fortunate to have it here. So.
And then would you close with an explanation about how to use the state system for gaining an overnight reservation?
Okay, so I'm going to do this.
I want to know how you can get an advantage, not just how to use it.
Okay.
We need a secret.
Now this is televised, right? I don't know, we might need to close this session and go into private session. No, I'm just teasing. Here's my best tip for you, and this is my very best tip. You go to Reserve America and you book through them, but if you go to our website, Crystal Cove Beach Cottages, there's 3 ways that you can get a cottage rental. On the 1st of every month at 8 o'clock in the morning. Secondly, you can check for cancellations. And third, you can check for walk-ins day of. So I would say look at the website page for those 3 areas and then follow that. But I will give you one hot tip, okay? This is the hot tip. If you didn't listen to anything I said the whole time this morning, listen up to this, okay? My cell phone is, no. When you are making reservations on Reserve America and you're clicking the days that you want, go to the last day of the month, click on that, and that allows you access into the next month for 6 days. So, and then the other tip is you have to come on one of my tours, and I hope to see many, many people on my tours this next year. Come down on a Sunday. It's from 12 to 2. It's a great way to just get out and get some great exercise and have lunch or breakfast at the Beachcomber afterwards. So,
Where does the tour start?
Oh, thank you for asking. The tour starts on the deck at check-in, which is on the bluff top. So if you park over at Los Trancos, walk across the street at PCH instead of taking the shuttle down to the lower area. And then if you look for the American flag on the bluff, that's where the Cultural Center and check-in is. And on that big deck, we meet everyone there. Okay?
Just kind of one follow-up question to what you were saying. We're here, we do a lot of networking with each other. That's how we help build our businesses. How can we help you in what you're doing?
Oh, gosh.
Send money.
Do you have an hour? No, I'm just kidding. You know what? The most important thing is to come down to Crystal Cove, experience it, see what we're trying to do, become ambassadors for this project. Tell your friends, bring them down. Come down and learn about what we're doing. Get involved, volunteer. We're expanding our board of directors. There are so many ways that you could help. Also, it's the end of the year. If you have any desire to help us with one of our campaigns, please give me a call or send me an email. I'm happy to answer any questions. But this is a project that's going to take the entire community. And helping to identify some sources of revenue to complete this project would be super helpful.
Are there any particular partners that you're looking to work with? What would be a good partner?
One with money.
Yes, I think that's a great idea. No, I think we should probably have a cup of coffee and talk about that offline. But no, there's lots and lots of opportunities for people to get involved and help our organization. And so many people, they come down and they go, oh, this looks great. They see what they see and they think it's all done. But there's 17 more cottages at the end. And once that's finished, this project will be 100% self-sustaining. The way our contract is set up, a certain percentage comes off the top of all gross revenues there that stays in that park and that will maintain that park in perpetuity. And there's not a lot of projects you can say that about. So this is the last leg. We need everyone to get involved. So, yes, Carol.
Don't you allow some sort of opportunity for people to make reservations for the use of the cultural center for events that might further your objectives, or that some corporation might want to have a meeting there,
Right.
see the beautiful view and rent your facility, but also become acquainted with it?
Right, there are some, and if you come down on the tour, you can learn more about this, but there are also these special event venues that you can come down and have a wedding, corporate function, what have you. That revenue goes back to the park. Those reservations for those special venues are made through state parks. But it's a wonderful way to have a function, corporate, personal, wedding, what have you. And that supports the park and helps provide important revenue. State Parks has a lot of challenges they're facing right now. And it's really important that people understand what they are so they can kind of help to protect these important spaces. Because I think really we all need to be part of protecting what's in our backyard. So anyway, I think I'm getting the hook here. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Laura. We had one other VIP come in late, Kim Brandt, our Community Development Director. I see her back there. Didn't want to leave you out, Kim. Well, that was a great talk. Thank you, Laura, for bringing us up to speed on what's going on down there at the cottages. I'm going to have to make sure I hit that last day of the month thing. I think that's the key ticket here, because all those other dates are open, right, in the next month. See, we learned something here at Wake Up Newport. In any event, that's our meeting. We have just a couple of quick announcements. Next Tuesday is our next event. It's the mayor's reception. We do this annually. The new city council, we have 4 new city council members that are going to be sworn in that night. And a new mayor and Mayor Pro Tem will be selected. After they're done with that, they're going to come over to the Back Bay Bistro at the Dunes, where we're going to be holding a reception for them. They'll have a few minutes to talk to whoever's there. And we already have, I think, about 120 people signed up, and the room only holds about 180. So we're expecting it to sell out. If you're interested in attending, please go to our website, newportbeach.com, and you can register for that. I think it's $35. And that covers the cost. It's actually come hungry, because they'll be serving a really heavy hors d'oeuvres there. That's a great venue, great opportunity to meet the new mayor. Our next thing, our biggest event of the year, is the boat parade. Everybody loves the boat parade. Starts on December 17th, Wednesday night. It's going to run through Sunday the 21st. There's all kinds of places around the harbor. Obviously, you can go see the boat parade. This year, the Boy Scout Sea Base is going to have 500 bleacher seats that they're selling for $10 a piece. So if you want to have a seat, front row seat for the parade, that's a great place to do it. I think you can park at the high school, and they're going to have a shuttle bus that'll take you to the sea base, so you don't have to worry about parking or navigating the traffic on Coast Highway. It's kind of a mess. If you are going to be around town this year, Coast Highway with all the construction has created some challenges, so make sure you allot an extra 10 or 15 minutes. And then next thing after that, our next Wake Up Newport meeting. Normally we have this meeting the first Thursday of the month, but the first Thursday in January is January 1st, and I imagine there'll be a few hangovers in the room, so we're gonna push it to January 8th. We have a really good speaker coming, Carolyn Cavetti. She's a former mayor and city councilwoman in Orange, but currently she's president of OC Tax, and OC Tax is an organization that's looking out for the residents or the public, trying to keep taxes low. I think Carolyn told me their big initiative next year is to try and stop the push to change Prop 13. Prop 13 now, as most of you know, covers or protects us from increases in your property taxes once you've bought your property. And there's a move afoot now to have a split roll so that commercial properties will be taxed differently than residential properties. And so their big push next year is to try and stop that. So I think that'll be a very interesting talk. And then the last thing that I'll pitch to you is January 16th is the Christmas Boat Parade and Award Dinner. It's a great event. It's going to be at Island Hotel. We have an auction there with well over 200 auction items in the silent auction, another 7 or 8 in our live auction. This year I know we'll have at least 50 to 60 hotel stays all around the country. So it's a great place if you want to go travel and get a good deal. That's the place to do it. Thank you all for coming. We'll see you next month. Have a great, happy holiday season.